Now, what if I told you that your nervous system can literally not tell the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one? It's kind of crazy, isn't it? I'm telling you that your nervous system, if it is exposed to enough stimuli, whether it's actual stimuli or stimuli within yourself, it can't tell the difference between the experience being real or fake because the stimuli are influencing it in the same way. Now, this relates directly to the book that I read once. It's called Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. Honestly, it's one of my favorite books ever. And the reason why it's one of my favorite is because the principles and the fundamentals in that book, if you apply it in your life, you can literally change your life dramatically, like from A to Z, everything, day and night. Now, these principles in the book were applied by athletes, public speakers, businessmen, everything, you name it. And basically what the principles in this book teach you is to take possession of your mind and control it so that you feed your mind the more positive things and you stick away from the negative things. Now, the problem with most of us is that we use these principles to a negative extreme. We go into most things with a mentality of fear and we carry ourselves with that fear and we literally imagine ourselves failing dramatically before we even fail. It's like in the back of our minds, I know I'm not going to succeed at this. That's why I'm not going to try my absolute best. I'm kind of going to be hopeless. I'm going to be a bit of a victim. I'm going to carry myself with a victim mentality. And what that gets us in life is nothing. However, when we look at the other positive side of it, that was literally applied by famous athletic coaches and businessmen and really successful people in general, this science of cybernetics, which is the science of controlling your own mind to adapt to the body and allow it to control the body and the mechanics of the body and utilizing the power of your mind and intertwine both of those together, then you will win because it's like your mind and body become one unit. You start acting in ways consistent with that positive belief. And then you start expecting success. You see, guys, when you expect success or failure, you tend to gain that desired or that expected result out of you, whether it's positive or negative. It's like if you're expecting success, you're going to do the things that are necessary for you to succeed because you believe that you're going to succeed in the back of your mind and you see such a clear picture. So you start acting in ways that are consistent with that belief. But if you see yourself as a failure, you're going to start acting in ways consistent with the failure belief without even knowing about this. And I used to do this in the past, literally years ago, in so many aspects of my life, academically, with meeting women, when it comes to achieving anything that's out of my comfort zone. I would immediately sabotage myself and say, no, I can't do this. I'm going to fuck this up and I'm not going to be in a position of resourcefulness because I already see myself as a failure. I'm hopeless. Now, I want you to do this. I want you to take a look at one of your friends who is really good at either academics or another friend that's really good at like athletics, or maybe someone else who's really good at business, has a very successful business. And then I want you to ask yourself, why is it that this person seems to consistently always be doing good, better? They always seem to be succeeding. They don't seem to be falling. And if they ever do, it's only very temporarily. And then afterwards, they just readjust and they set themselves back on track and they put themselves on the right track. Why do you think that is? You see, I didn't know this prior to reading this book. But my belief is that these people, they have such positive thoughts that are infused in their minds and they start conducting themselves with a spirit of belief. So they start doing the necessary things and they see the end result of success in their mind really clearly. And then they start doing the things that are necessary for them to succeed. So inevitably they succeed and they don't become surprised. I even always thought to myself, what is it about that one student in the classroom in like college who's always getting A's? It's like the worst letter on their transcript is like an A minus and everything else is A. So I asked myself, what is it about these students? Is it that they're more smart? Is it that they can pick up on things that other people can't? What exactly is it? And I've come to a conclusion, which I pretty much believe that is the right conclusion. These people believe that they will be that person or that girl or that guy who achieves, let's say, a 4.0 every single semester before it even happens because they see themselves as that kind of person. So they start acting in that way. The same thing with athletics. You want to know what's funny too? In the book, the author literally tells you that they wanted to do research to prove that these principles are true. So there was a basketball high school team or a college team, I honestly can't remember. And there were two groups in that team. The first group, they told them to practice physically after practice ends today for the next week and just practice physically regularly like you always have. And the second group, they told them, all right, the physical practice ends today. And for the next week, all I want you to do is practice mentally, not even show up physically. See yourself throwing that ball in the hoop. See yourself performing that pass. See yourself doing this. See yourself doing that. And then they analyzed the results. I think it was a week later. I can't remember if it was a week, 2 weeks, a month. I can't remember. But the point is, they analyzed the results afterwards. And then I kid you not, both groups turn out to have the same exact results or very similar results, even though the first group is the group that physically practiced and the second group is the group that only practiced in their minds, seeing that intended result, seeing their mind and body being like one unit and getting that desired result because they saw it so many times and they're forming those connections, those neurological connections in their brain. You see, man, how crazy is this? When your mind is literally occupied by certain thoughts, your body and your physical world tend to reflect those onto you and make those into a real experience, whatever that real experience is. And I've come to that conclusion with anything in life, whether it comes to succeeding in business, whether it comes to succeeding in academics, in sports, with members of the opposite sex, succeeding at just being a confident person, the universe will tend to give you the reflection of your own thoughts. And man, these principles are so powerful to the point where it's sometimes funny in a way. It's like you could literally do this to your mind and you could literally hack your nervous system in a positive way to start seeing things that are happening before they even happen. See yourself succeeding at it. See yourself with the end results. It's called begin with the end in mind and start carrying out the thing that you want to carry out so that eventually you will carry that out in a spirit of belief instead of a spirit of disbelief. You see, guys, like literally 2 days ago, I was watching a movie. It was a famous football movie. I honestly don't know what it's called, but the gist of it is there was a coach who was more religiously inclined and he brought religion into teaching, like teaching the young athletes, the young high school athletes on the football team. And so one of the kids on the team, during practice, he was always showing up, but whenever he'd kick the punt, he'd do like the punt, I think that's what it's called. He always did it in a spirit of disbelief. It's like before he even kicked the ball, he would literally say, I feel like I'm already gonna miss before I even kick it. And so the coach tells him, you see, son, that's your problem. You're kicking it with a spirit of disbelief. And then he started bringing the Bible into it, which I understand. I'm not Christian, by the way, I'm Muslim, but that's not the point. The point is the spirit of belief versus disbelief. And then there was a point in the movie where he really believed that that was gonna happen. He was like, I want you to imagine it working out. He didn't tell him how to kick it or to kick it left or right. He just says, I want you to see it going in and visualize it going in. He kicks the ball and it goes in perfectly. Then he says, that was perfect. That's all you had to do. Just visualize that happening. And of course, practice is part of it. But I personally believe that the mental part of it is the first component. And then afterwards, your body follows with the physical component to make that thing happen and to allow yourself to succeed in whatever endeavor in life. It's not just about athletics. It's not just about academics. It's not just about attracting a member of the opposite sex. It's not just about building a business. It's not just about succeeding on YouTube like I'm trying to right now, right? The best of YouTubers are the ones that are speaking with a spirit of charisma and confidence, and they see themselves succeeding at it. The ones who don't succeed are the ones who are very doubtful and they're not confident about what they're saying. They have no enthusiasm. They have no end goal for the video. It's like none of the things they're talking about are actually related to the topic of the video. You get my point. So the point is, man, when you carry yourself with a spirit of belief, and that spirit of belief is harmonious with your nervous system, where it's calm and everything is just one unit, nothing's all haywire, and you see the end result in your mind. You use that science of cybernetics, which is the science of mechanics and communication in your body. Psycho-cybernetics, meaning using your mind to control that, you will see that you will succeed in the end. And I have successfully applied this in my life in several things. And then I've very unsuccessfully applied it and failed at it in the past before I even knew about this. This was years ago. I would see myself taking a class and just imagining myself doing horribly at it. Even though I had good abilities, but I would say, oh no, there's smarter kids than me. I'm not as good as that guy. I'm not as good as this guy. I'm not as good as this girl. And because of that, I wouldn't do as good as I wanted to do. Even though I had hard work, but you see guys, hard work isn't everything. Your mental energy, the mentality that you give yourself before going into anything is the most important part of it. Because when you see yourself succeeding, you will succeed. When you see yourself failing, then you fail. That's the gist of the whole book. Your nervous system can't tell the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. I want you to imagine that, and I want you to start conditioning and hacking your nervous system in a positive way so that you always get the results that you want in your life.